Hey guys, Ryan here, and today we're going to cover a little bit about the plank exercise. Now, the plank exercise is a fantastic exercise for teaching somebody how to create static stability or static trunk stability, and all that means is not moving. The reason why it's so important is because when you're doing exercise like strength training, it's really important as you're picking up weights and adding load to your body that your spine is not moving while you do these exercises, and you're creating good amount of trunk stability so that you don't get injured. What we're going to cover in this exercise tutorial today is some common errors, some common faults, and then I'm going to give you the appropriate setup and good cues to make sure that you're doing this exercise the right way. Some common errors with the plank exercise when we see people doing these oftentimes is a couple things. First and foremost, we see a lot of arched back. And if we're arching here, that means we're probably not turning on here where we're supposed to. So what you'll see in the plank position is this arch. And if you see this arch going on, or if you're experiencing this arch, what you're probably also experiencing is probably discomfort or pain or tension in the low back. And we do not want that. The second kind of common error that we see is a high hip position. So if my hips are down here and I'm turning my abs on, and I'm not very good at that, the kind of next phase is for somebody to lift their hips up. When doing that, you're not really using your abdominal muscles like you're supposed to. And then the last common error that we see is that someone's just not creating tension here like they're supposed to. In the plank, it's a tutorial to create as much tension, as much full body tension as possible. And a lot of times if you're not creating that tension, you're going to see the drooping hips, the arched back, the high hips, and just really not getting the most out of this exercise like you should. So the first part that we're going to cover in the plank exercise is just the general setup, okay? And so when I'm setting up for the plank position, what I want to first do is I can just lie on my stomach down here. Now, oftentimes people either get their elbows way underneath them or they get themselves so far out that they can't create enough tension. What I want you to start to do is palms up, get your elbows directly under your shoulders, or very slightly the elbows can be in front of the shoulders. Okay, so that's step one. Step two is what I want you to do is I want you to bring your feet together. And then step three, when you go into the plank position, you're going to look for a neutral spine. So this arch position is not neutral. Maybe a good cue for you is to kind of tuck the tailbone under and neutralize that spine. What I'm looking for from the head all the way down to the toes is a complete straight line, meaning the head's not drooping and dropping, the tailbone's not up, and the arch is not backed. So tuck under, lengthen your spine, squeeze your heels together. Next, we're going to move into some common cues to make sure that the plank you're getting the most out of it, okay? So while you're in that lengthened position, we're going to go through 4 main cues to make sure that you're doing it right. The first one is brace for a punch. So while you're in that plank position, I want you to imagine that somebody would punch you in the stomach. How would you brace for that if they were to do that? Okay? So here's cue 1. And all I did is create some inter-abdominal pressure and brace for a punch. Okay? Cue number 2 is I want you to actively squeeze your heels together so that you're creating tension in your lower body as well. Okay? So we're going to go Q1, Q2. Q1, I'm going to brace my abs for a punch. Q2 is I'm going to squeeze my heels together while I'm bracing. Okay? The third cue is I'm going to say clench your butt as hard as you can. It's almost like your bottom is going to eat your shorts. And you may feel this while you're doing your squeeze your heels, but we're going to just give it a little extra and create glute tension or get you to contract your butt a little bit so you get more tension going on. All right? Q1 to Q3. Q1, brace for a punch. Q2, squeeze your heels. Q3, clench your butt. I'm already getting tired. The last cue is I want you to imagine that you're pulling your elbows and your toes together, okay? So it's almost like I'm trying to drag my elbows down and squeeze my toes together. Now I don't want you to actually move your elbows, I just want you to squeeze your toes and your elbows together. It looks like this. Okay, Q1, brace for a punch. Q2, squeeze my heels. Q3, clench my butt. Q4, I'm going to squeeze my elbows and toes together like I'm pulling them together. And relax. When you do all four of those cues together, you create a huge amount of tension throughout your body. And that tension is going to be essential for you because that is the building blocks for you to do all your other exercises. If you're squatting, you need to create tension. If you're deadlifting, you need to create tension. In a push-up, you need to create tension. Pull-ups, rows, everything that you do with load is going to require you to create tension. This is the foundation of that tension, of that strength, and it's important to be able to do this appropriately. Starting out, you shouldn't be able to do more than 15 seconds without creating all that tension. If you can go longer than that, then you're probably not doing it, creating enough tension or making it hard enough for you. Give that a try, and if you need any help or have any questions, feel free to reach out.